It's a pretty hot Saturdaymans. Before we get to today's video, I want to take a moment to talk about Patreon. That's right, we are on Patreon now, and we have a bunch of tiers with a bunch of great rewards. You can subscribe and get things like early access to all reactions, depending on your tier, depends on which reactions you get early access to. You can vote on polls exclusive to patrons that will help determine future reaction series and more. You will get to just have various choices in terms of like getting to choose future reactions I react to, getting to choose first impressions I check out, all kinds of different rewards, and possibly more coming in the future. We're still new at this. We're still figuring things out. It's a process. It's a process. But we have multiple tiers, so whatever you would be able to donate, if you're able and willing to donate, is appreciated. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, it helps us grow. It's going to help just, standardly. It's just something new to check out. Plus, if you like getting the reactions early, that's also a plus. But it is optional. If you're unable to do it, that's completely fine. All reactions will come to YouTube just a little bit later, a week later or so. So, that all being said, thank you as always so much, and let's get on with today's video. And with all of that being said, hey everyone, welcome to Princess of Gay. I'm your host Connie, and today we are here with my blind reaction to Daemons of the Shadow Realm. We are on episode 7, and last time we kind of dealt with the invaders. There were quite a few of them, and it seems like most of them don't really value their daemons at all. They see them as tools, which pissed Gabby very specifically off. Which is very interesting to me, and it makes me want to know more. Like, Gabby's already a very interesting character right from the get-go in episode 1, with, gobble gobble. The more we see of her, and the more we see of her, like, interacting with Asa or others, it's like there's clearly a lot more depth to her than we're even seeing already. And I want to know so much more. Asa, meanwhile, we get to see more utilizations of her break, most notably being able to break the pact between Daemons and their master. She can break an already existing pact, which allows her to then form a new one, as she does with the yin-yang demons that we see, which allows her to, release those who had been trapped within the pocket dimension. So yeah, it's just kind of super, like, interesting how the lore and the overall, like, for lack of a better way to put it, magic system of this series works. It's kind of the overarching term that people use whenever, like, you have an anime having any kind of system like this, whether it be Nen and Hunter x Hunter, or Key and Dragon Ball, or so on and so forth. It's like, that's just kind of the catch-all term, even if it's not, like, quite a magic system, quote-unquote. It still works, I guess. But yeah, I'm definitely very interested to see what more can be done with break, and I wonder how long it is going to be until we get repair or whatever it's called, the other one, till that's unlocked. Because they keep building up to that, they keep setting up with it. But what's even more interesting is that with the revelation that the yin yang demon can have, like, can conceal people within a pocket space inside of it, we definitely have a hint as to how Yuru and Asa's parents disappeared right off of a plane, along with the guard that was supposed to be keeping them safe.
It might not be the Yin Yang Demon specifically, but it might just be another Daemon that has that kind of ability. And so it's at least a hint. It's at least something. And that's a big deal. So I'm very, very curious to see like where this all goes, who this third group is, if they're connected to either of the two existing clans, or if they're completely separate outside of that. And I just want to see more of all of these characters. I'm already like loving so many of them, and it's just it's not quite the same as Fullmetal Alchemist, of course. It's a very different series for a number of reasons, and I never really expected it to be the same. But at the same time, you can definitely see a lot of Hiromu Arakawa's fingerprints in the writing and the character work. It's just there's so much depth to everything, and it feels like everything is important. Every character we see, every little bit of information we get, and considering, again, how phenomenally and unbelievably Hiromu Arakawa tied everything up perfectly in Fullmetal Alchemist, I have all the faith in the world that like this is going to get better and better and better as it goes along. I don't necessarily expect it to reach the levels of FMA for me. Just personally, I really, really love the story and specific lore and stuff that Fullmetal Alchemist has. In terms of the anime specifically, Brotherhood, but generally speaking, it's just this while it may not be as good, is still proving that Arakawa is like just phenomenal and always will be. So I think we should just get into this and see what we have in store.
Hold up just a sec. Before you click that link down in the description below to get to today's video, I want to remind you of all the awesome content we have both on this channel and the Princess of Gaming channel. Let's check it out.
Welcome to the Afterthoughts. We'll begin with spoilers in 3, 2, 1, now. So one thing I've heard other people say about this series, and that I definitely have noticed myself, is that that compared to like Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood, it's very slow. There's these moments of like excitement and cool action and stuff, but in between, it takes its time and paces things out in order to develop characters and lore and the overall narrative and whatnot. And I feel like there's definitely going to be two kinds of people when it comes to a show like this. There are going to be those who are going to say that it's boring because of that. These are the kinds of people who are like super into the kinds of shows that are like constant hype, constant fighting and excitement, and don't waste any time with anything else. These are the kinds of like people who anytime a series dedicates, like a series that has a lot of action, for example, or a lot of fighting, dedicates an episode to talking or developing things, they're going to downvote that episode on like all the social media sites and my anime list and whatnot. They're going to give it lower ratings because it's, you know, it's slower, because it's not constant action. And these are the kinds of people that are the reason why, like, in pretty much any series you see, the slower moments like this, the slower episodes, are always rated lower. Even in shows like Witch Hat Atelier, which is obviously not, like, in any sense an action-heavy show, the episodes that have the greater action and greater like intense moments are rated higher because there's a notable group of people who will specifically rate those episodes high and specifically rate lowly episodes that are not like that. And it's just a weird idea to me. It's something that's never made sense because it's like you can be into a show for any reason you want. There's no wrong way to watch something. It's just I'm also allowed to have my opinion. I'm allowed to not understand someone else's way of looking at things. If someone watches a series strictly for high quality animation and action, it's like that doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't track in my mind. You're allowed to watch that way, and you're allowed to like shows for that reason. It just doesn't click with me. But vice versa, I feel like my focuses when it comes to a show being the story and characters mattering vastly more than anything else. I'm sure that doesn't make sense to a lot of those kinds of people. And that's fine. It's all subjective. But it's like I'm allowed to still be confused about it just as they're allowed to be confused about me. It's like if you're just in it for the hype and everything, that's fine. We're just not going to see eye to eye on that. I see the hype moments as a bonus. But what really matters to me is the stuff that drives the series forward. Again, story and characters. But there's also another kind of people who are going to look at this kind of show. And those are the people who are going to value the slower stuff much more, like myself. The people who are going to see a series that takes its time developing things and delving into the lore and are going to be super excited about that. Some people would call themselves lore hunters or, theorists and various other terms for people who are kind of in this overall group. But it's just kind of like those who put the value of a series within that kind of stuff ahead of animation, art style, action, hype moments and everything. So I'm definitely, like I said, on the latter part of that. This is definitely my kind of show. I value this kind of stuff greatly, and this episode even starting off basically with this big set of flashbacks, not even really focusing on the modern stuff as much, is something that I feel matters greatly, because it delves into a lot of the lore of why these characters are like this. And even with Yuru's backstory, it also shows how he ends up sensing the bloodlust in Gonzo Kagimori and just the others there towards Dara. He can tell, and we know that he was able to learn that from his experience as a child 10 years ago. So this kind of lore, this kind of flashback work is important and valuable. And I mean, hell, I love One Piece, so I love flashbacks. This kind of stuff is just what I look forward to. And so I think it was handled really well here. I love the juxtaposition of Gonzo coming across super kind and gentle and friendly, but having that intense bloodlust towards Dara. Also, after having given him a ride in the first place, from the gate to the houses and all, it's that's a really good bit of character there. But it also adds in a lot of depth to like the lore and whatnot. Why do the Kagemori clan despise the Tadara clan so heavily? Why are they so aggressively, not just distrustful, but vitriolic towards them? It makes you wonder. And I'm hoping that in the next episode, we do get to hear more of both sides to this entire story. We do start to learn more about the difference between the clans and what their beef with each other is. I genuinely want to know all of this. Because I feel like a lot of shows, a lot of series would sprinkle this lore throughout and make you wait forever to like get the full picture. Even One Piece falls victim to this. And I sometimes I just appreciate it when a series kind of like tells you pretty quickly, pretty upfront. It's like, no, this is you heard about this like a few chapters ago, a few episodes back. Let's actually explain it now. Let's get into the nitty-gritty and talk about it. You don't have to wait another 50 to 100 chapters just to find out the deal with this. Let's get into it. I like that. And don't get me wrong, I'm good with waiting. I'm good with the sprinkle the sprinkle method of getting that information drip fed. It's like I'm okay with that. I have patience. I'm not a lot of the One Piece haters out there. Or even some of the One Piece fans, let's be honest. A lot of the One Piece fans. It's... I'm not going to get into that here. That's an argument for a completely separate video and a completely separate time, but let's just not get into that entire shit here. But yeah, I definitely want to know more because everything... The interesting thing is everything we've seen of the Kagemori clan, especially with Yuru meeting them and coming to the compound and all, has been honestly kind of delightful. Like, they're exceptionally reasonable. They're not bad people by any means. In fact, honestly, I'd say they're pretty good people from what we've seen, for the most part. There is the one guy who's, like, really sus and kind of eerie and uncomfy, but even Jean doesn't like him, clearly. So, it seems like that's pretty understandable. But yeah, it's like there's so many questions. And again, who is this third party? Are they part of Higashi Village? Are they part of the Tadira clan? Because apparently, the Tadira clan has never been like properly seen by the Kagemori clan. They're super elusive and everything they said, which is fascinating because I didn't expect that at all. I really didn't expect that at all. And that also kind of confirms for us that Higashi Village are not distinctly the Tadara clan. They work with the Tadara clan, but they themselves are not part of the clan. Which is even more fascinating to me. Because that means that Dara and Hana, if you even count, if Hana technically even counts as part of the clan, are the only clan members we've seen of the Tadara clan. And honestly, I don't think Hana counts. I think she's just an ally to them. I don't think she's actually a member. So that's really fascinating. There's so much depth to this, and so much that we just have not been told. And I'm just very curious. I also like the lore of, like, the twins sundered between day and night, in order to gain their powers, have to die. And apparently, when they die, they enter the realm of, like, whichever side they're part of. In Asa's case, it was the realm of Break. And um, they're given a choice. They, at least Asa was. I assume it's the same on the other realm as well, which we're definitely going to see, obviously, at some point. But they're given the choice to either accept death, which just means they have to walk off the path and, they just stay dead, or they come back. And interestingly, 400 years ago, the last set of twins born in Higashi, sundered between day and night, also had this happen. But one of them didn't come back. And we presume that means that they chose to die, to stay dead for one reason or another. But we technically don't know that. And it's kept vague enough here that it makes it come across like it's not as simple as we're thinking. And I definitely think that's the vibe we're getting. Because even the Daemon of Break was saying that the legend as Asa knew it and everything isn't entirely correct. That it's kind of gotten twisted and changed over the course of time. Which, makes sense. It's like the telephone game that you always played as a kid. It's like, the more it goes along, the more it's going to change. For one reason or another. So, yeah. But that does make things just so aggressively interesting. And it makes me want to know so much more about this world, about the system, about the lore. And again, I'm hoping next episode we'll find out even more. But for the time being, let me know what your thoughts are in the comments below. And for now, I'm Connie and I'm signing off. See y'all next time.